right, what's going on, Foundation Nation? Today we're back with another disc review. We have the 20-year anniversary Buzzz. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, isn't that just a normal Buzzz? You know, we all kind of know what the Buzzz does. Why are we doing a review of such a popular disc that everybody kind of knows about? Well, this isn't like your ordinary Buzzz, okay? So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a history lesson. I had to brief my own self up on this to make sure I had all of the details. But basically, when the Buzzz was first run back in 2003, they used the top of the Wasp that already existed, and then they used a new wing to try and create an ultra straight Wasp. Because the Wasp already existed, and if you've ever thrown a Wasp, you know, it's a little bit more stable. It has a bit of a harder finish. So they were trying to create a straighter one. So what I say all that to show you is that the original Buzzz had Wasp tooling on the inside. That tooling that Discraft has that shows the name of the disc. You can see that here. See where it says Wasp there. The original Buzzz had that Wasp tooling, even though it was called the Buzzz. So 10 years later, they eventually changed the Buzzz to have its own tooling because it became one of their most popular molds. They just now, if you buy a Buzzz, it'll say Buzzz, even though it flies similar. Then fast forward to the 10-year anniversary of the Buzzz in 2013. For that, they decided to release the original Buzzz with the Wasp tooling for the 10-year anniversary. Well, now we've made it the 20-year anniversary. It's been that long since the original Buzzz came out. They've come out with this 20-year anniversary Buzzz. It's in this really nice pearly Z plastic. And just like the 10-year Buzzz and just like that original Buzzz, like I showed you, it has that Wasp tooling, which means this is a different disc than the Buzzz that you would throw normally, that you would pick up at foundationdisc.com. So that's why we're gonna review it. We're gonna find out, does this actually fly any different than the normal full production Buzzes? And why should you pick up one of these aside from just the collectability? So what I've got here is a stock Z Buzzz. As you can see on the stock Z Buzzz, it says Buzzz, if you can make that out there. This has Buzzz tooling and not the Wasp tooling. If you look at them, just, you know, at a first glance, you don't really notice a huge difference. I would say the shoulder looks slightly different in my opinion. But we're gonna try and find out if there's any difference in the flight as well. Now, aside from the flight, there is still reason to pick up this disc. These are dropping today at 5 p.m. Eastern at foundationdisc.com. But there is reason to pick these up, and that's because they only run these every 10 years. So if you're a disc collector, if you're a fan of Discraft, or if you're just looking to pick up something kind of rare that we won't see this for another 10 years in theory, this would be a great time to pick these up because they're only gonna run these once. They only ran them once 10 years ago, so it is a very limited, rare thing, and it's very cool to have a piece of history like this. So we're gonna give it a toss, we're gonna compare it to the normal Buzzz, and we're gonna see what it does. All right, we're gonna start by throwing this just like kind of flat, rip it out there and just see what it does. You know, I would expect normally a Buzzz to fly pretty straight, maybe a little fade at the end. Not much wind out here. Wow. Well, for starters, that was a beautiful flight, ton of glide. I'll say, I feel like that may have been a little bit straighter. That's kind of what I have heard rumors, is that the 10-year Buzzz and then this Buzzz, would being the same mold, are a little bit of a straighter Buzzz. And that turned a little more and kind of had a little less fade than I would expect out of a new Buzzz. I'm gonna throw the Z Buzzz now. I'll try and give it a similar line and see if we can notice if it's any more stable, especially at the end of the flight there. Okay, that one came out on a lot of anhyzer. Let's see if it fights a little more. Tough to tell. That one came out of my hand lower and with more anhyzer. It finished similarly, so we're gonna have to try and get a little bit of a flatter, similar flight out of it. I'll say that the 10-year or the 20-year Buzzz certainly has a very nice straight flight and glided a ton. All right, we're just gonna smooth the Buzzz out, kind of flat again, just trying to get a couple more throws to compare with. So this is the 20-year Buzzz. Okay, that came out pretty flat. It's getting a little bit of turn initially, and then just a gentle fade at the end. Very straight, very forgiving. We're gonna go like 75% now, just like we did with the 20-year Buzzz. Try to throw it flat and just see if it's as forgiving on that less amount of power. Okay, that was a pretty good result. All right, okay, so now that's interesting. So on the first throws, when I really powered into both the Buzzes, I wasn't really noticing either of them to be straighter than the other. That I noticed a little bit of a difference. So when I threw out the 20-year Buzzz, on a similar amount of speed and angle, I was still getting a little bit of turn and then a very gentle fade. The Z Buzzz with what I believe to be a very similar throw there, and power level, like 75%, did not want to turn at all, and then a much harder fade at the end. I was seeing maybe 10 to 15 feet more right to left movement out of that Z Buzzz. So that's interesting. That is interesting. We're gonna have to keep testing, but I think that that might show a little more stability in the stock Z Buzzz. All right, next test with the Buzzes, I'm gonna rip them both on hyzer really hard, see if either one wants to pop up more than the other. Starting with the 20-year Buzzz. Okay. Interesting, so the 20-year Buzzz did pop up to flat pretty quick. It did still hold it, it didn't flip over or anything. Now we're gonna really lean into the stock Buzzz on hyzer and see if it wants to pop up at all. I have a suspicion I don't think it will. This could be interesting. Okay, so that was a little more hyzer than I gave the other Buzzz. So I'm gonna try and throw the 20-year right next to that on a lot of hyzer like that and see if it does anything different. Because I don't think that was a fair comparison. It definitely didn't want to flip up though. I mean, a new Buzzz, if you give it the right angle, it's typically quite stable. So I'm gonna give this as well a lot of that hyzer and see what it does. Okay, see there's a big difference there. So that 20-year Buzzz is wanting to flip up much more. I did give that very close to the same amount of hyzer, and it did want to pop up and push a little bit, whereas that other one was just nose diving left. So I'm starting to see that what they say is true. These 20-year and 10-year Buzzes with that Wasp tooling, they did fly straighter. I'm really starting to see it now. When you get them up to speed, they're just a little more forgiving. They want to push a little more, whereas a new Buzzz, until you beat it in a little bit, they can be very stable and unforgiving, especially at lower arm speeds. So it's very interesting. All right, we're gonna toss each of the Buzzes one more time, really rip into them kind of flat and try to get them to turn. Yeah, it just holds the turnover very effortlessly, brand new. You know, throwing that hard with just a little bit of ante, it really just wants to commit to that turnover line. Just not sure I can get that out of this stock Buzzz. Yeah, now, so here's the thing, that one's fighting out. I think I threw those on somewhat similar lines, and where I'm seeing, you know, on each line, it's subtle, it's not crazy, but like on that line, I'm seeing the 20-year Buzzz want to hold that turnover. The stock one's kind of straightening out and then crashing a little bit left at the end. On hyzer, you saw the 20-year Buzzz wants to pop up and push a little bit, whereas the new one just kind of wants to hold and bite left on that hyzer. At a softer throw, if I throw a flat, soft, like 75% throw, I saw the 20-year Buzzz want to push straight and then fade gentle, whereas I saw and even turn a little bit, whereas I saw the stock Buzzz getting out there straight a little bit, but then crashing harder and more severe at the end. So what I think we've got here with these 20-year Buzzes, which is, it's a very good disc, is just a more forgiving Buzzz. It's a shame they only run these once every 10 years. You know, we haven't had them since the 10-year Buzzz. We do have them now, and we have quite a few. If you want to check them out at foundationdisc.com, they're dropping tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern. But I think what we really have here is a straighter Buzzz, which a lot of people are looking for. People that may want to throw the Buzzz because it's so popular and it's such a good disc, but don't have quite enough arm speed. If you find yourself just wishing the Buzzz was a little more flippier and you could get those hyzer flips, this could be it. This could be it. I'd really recommend picking them up. Pick up a few because they might not see them for 10 more years, and they are a different disc. This is not the same as the normal Buzzz. And yeah, it's just a cool piece of disc golf history too if you just want to collect them. But yeah, I can confirm different flying than the normal Buzzz, which I wasn't really buying into that at first, but I'm convinced now. It's a very fun disc, goes very far. We'll see you in the next one.